Hey everyone, are you just as fired up as I am? It's Krista Mashore here, and we have got Bill Risser. He is the Real Estate Sessions podcast guy, and he's been in the industry for so long, and we are so happy to have you, Bill. Thank you so much.
Krista, thank you so much. It's really an honor to be here. Thanks for inviting me in.
Oh, so tell us a little bit. You've been in the industry for so long. Tell us a little bit about your past, so we know who we're talking about.
Sure. I will be celebrating my 20th anniversary with the Fidelity National Financial Family January 13th. So this might be after the 13th or before the 13th, but January 13th, 20 years. And I started in Phoenix, right? I come from San Diego, but relocated to Phoenix for an opportunity with Fidelity and ran a branch for 10 years. So I have the escrow side down, but always had been kind of techie. When the market got slow, I had time on my hands back in 08, 09, 2010, started playing with tech, and really all of this started from me bringing realtors into a conference room that I had Wi-Fi put in that I did not tell corporate because they would not have allowed it back in 2009, and teach them how to use Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter, because that's what it was in 2009, right?
Yeah.
And so that's how it started, and from there, by 2011, we created this position for me in Arizona where I stepped down from branch manager, let another person take over. And my role as vice president of digital strategy with Fidelity is to simply help realtors and real estate professionals be smarter with tech, be smarter with all this digital stuff that's happening today, because it can be incredibly overwhelming, as I'm sure you and your viewers know. It can be difficult.
Yeah, and it's people aren't used to it. So there's this fear barrier that goes on, and then when they have the fear, they kind of sometimes just sort of and they do nothing,
Right. Absolute analysis, by paralysis. They're like, oh no, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And you don't do anything. That's a big problem.
So you basically help realtors, lenders through Fidelity, and so tell us some of the things that you're actually doing to help them now.
Sure. Right now, because of the time of the year that we're in, we just came out of a heavy series of business planning sessions where we talk about some really interesting stuff. We use a tool, Breakthrough Broker. You might have heard of Eric Sachs and those guys out of. Yeah. So Eric's a good friend. We've been early in with them, going back almost a decade, and so I'll talk about what Eric's doing with business planning for realtors, because I think that they all know they've got to do it, but to have the tech to be able to make it simple and easy is important. And so I'm helping with that. I'm doing a lot of stuff with relationship building on the database side of things. I think that we're so lead generation focused in our world so much of the time that we forget that what's sitting behind us, all these people that we know and that already like and trust us, or at least they're in our phone. There are ways to be more effective. So that's a very popular session that we're talking about a lot today. I love video. I think it's been the year of video in real estate for, 10 years now, Chris. Is that about right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I love showing agents how to be really effective with video from their phone and doing hands-on workshops to actually kind of, from start to finish, just know exactly how to get up and online. And I'm a big fan of YouTube. If you had to ask me where I think that there's a missing link. I think YouTube has some incredible opportunities. So I talk a lot about that. I think a ton of people are talking about Facebook and Instagram, as they should be. But I like the opportunities that sit over there in the YouTube world.
Yeah, we have a really heavy focus right now with YouTube on both Krista Mashore Coaching and Homes by Krista. We've done a huge shift. And that doesn't mean that we're not absolutely completely, engulfed in Facebook and Instagram, because we are, but we know that there's a need there, and there's also a lot of opportunities because so many agents aren't doing it.
Right. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yep. Go where the other people aren't. It's important.
You gotta find your blue ocean, right? Everything else is such a red ocean. You gotta find your blue ocean. So when you're, let's talk a little bit about, and there's a little bit of a noise somewhere kind of going.
Yeah, I don't really have anything going on here at all.
Okay, I don't hear either, which is so weird. So sorry about that, everyone. So let's chat a little bit about when you talk about relationships, and I completely agree. What are you teaching, and how are you helping people, and how are you getting them to kind of realize they need to focus on what's right in front of them?
Yeah. So this is a story I've told, I think, probably hundreds of times, but I mean, we all know that relationships are critical in our life for everything that we do. And we also know that the most, I know I've been married 31 years. And when I get home at the end of the day, when Cindy and I get back together that evening, there's one thing I can do to make the relationship much stronger. And it's a thing that, to be brutally honest, guys are not the best at. And that's going to be listen intentionally. And there are thousands of books that talk about this. And I think that we know that our face-to-face, our personal relationships, that it's how well we listen and engage. I think that's what matters. I really feel that social media is the same way. Yes, you have to brand yourself. Yes, you have to put out content, but there's an opportunity there with all the different platforms to listen intently to the people that matter most in your life, whether it's personal, professional, your tight sphere, your bigger, kind of audience. How do you listen and find opportunities to help, serve, engage? So that for me is the way I come at it with social media, which is kind of different than most people. And I think that to be honest, I mean, I know you've done, Krista, you've talked to a room full of people and you've seen people my age maybe, and they're looking at you going, oh my gosh, I can't do anything she's saying, right? Because they just feel so overwhelmed. And you can break it down and you can have them start small. But when I come in and say, I just want you to listen. You don't have to post yet. You're going to have to down the road. But how about if you just listened and commented and liked and shared for a little while and just got comfortable, right? And so that's a great way for them to see how they can start the listening process and then be better when they start doing the other things they're going to need to do to grow their business.
So when they're listening, what are you telling them exactly to listen for? That's a great strategy. I like that.
Sure.
So listen, like, comment, share.
Yeah. So look, the first thing that you're looking for is an opportunity to help, right? There's a movement out there that I'm seeing more and more people do things like this, that if you're on your Facebook stream and maybe you go to a custom list you've built. So you're looking at your top 20 or 30 customers and you're just seeing their posts, and you go ahead and you notice that, that someone's sick. And so why not, if you're in a community where you have Amazon Now, go ahead and go to Amazon Now and order up a little cold kit, which is some medicine, some chicken soup, a card, whatever, and it's delivered within an hour or two to their doorstep. And with a note that says, hey, I saw you were sick on Facebook today. I just want you, hope you feel better, enjoy, whatever. And people that get that stuff are already socially savvy. They were on Facebook saying they were sick, and now they're promoting their agent saying, look what my agent sent me. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. And that's the best kind of media out there, right? When it's not you saying it, but someone else is saying it about you. So that's, for me, that's a really critical point, in the listening, is looking for an opportunity to help, right?
Yes. And people are so busy nowadays that they forget to just put the human aspect in it, because we're all, right. And they want technology, they want automation, and they want the CRM to do everything for them. So much so that in many cases it's a disservice to them because they're not putting the human touch into it. And people love people. So automation is great, but it cannot replace humans.
Absolutely right. I mean, all the tech that's out there has got to be leading to more face-to-face interactions. This is real estate. This is something that's, some people want to turn it into a transactional thing that just happens online and all you do is click buttons, but I don't see that happening anytime soon.
Yeah. And we got to put the humanness back into it. And
yeah, I like that.
Listen, I mean, are you guys hearing this? Are you listening? If you're listening, you should be, right? Like, we've got to really listen to people and not listen for what you're going to say next or how it's going to benefit you, but truly, truly listen. I think that all of us can probably use a dosage of that.
It's really hard. I mean, my son's 26. He's not married yet, but I've had conversations with him already going, I got to tell you something. I wish I'd have known this at your age, but the better you can listen to somebody, and you said it, without forming a reply, but purely listening and then taking a breath and then thinking of what you want to say, it's life-changing, but difficult. Yeah.
It is. One of my daughter, I remember when I was really heavy into my real estate career, when I was, selling just, a lot of homes with myself and just 2 assistants. We were averaging between 150 and 170 homes a year. And my daughter would say to me, Mom, you're not listening, Mom. And I remember just feeling so bad because she was right. I always had so many things going on. And so I had to make it a mental practice just to completely stop what I was doing, put the phone down, and really give her my undivided attention. And there's still sometimes now where I find myself doing that. And when I just put everything down and I just look at her, I got to tell you, 5 minutes, 10 minutes goes a long way. And what it does to her and her, I mean, this is not to talk so much, but just recently this happened where she came in my room in the morning and I was getting ready. I was listening to a podcast because I like to listen and, and so she came in and she started talking and I just turned the podcast off and I stopped getting ready. I just listened to her for like 7 minutes, probably 7-8 minutes. And she was like dancing out of the house that day, and it just made me realize how important it is that we just show people, time is so important to people, and giving them part of your time it means so much. And as distracted as all of us are, it's difficult, but when you do it, people really appreciate it.
Yeah, look, if you're looking for something to help change your business in 2020, work really hard on that skill, right? You want to be the most interesting person at the party. When you're at the party, don't talk at all about your kids, but ask everybody else about theirs.
Yeah, yeah.
You'll be blown away, right? Because afterwards people are gonna be saying, "Oh my gosh, Krista was so amazing. What did she do?" "I have no idea, but she was amazing. She was cool." And you're like, all you did was get them talking about themselves.
Yeah.
People love that. People
Yeah.
love that. Yeah.
And then not only listening, but going back and taking some notes, right? Like
Oh,
go and get your little voice memo on your phone and go to this corner and then make some mental notes about what they told you. Put it in your CRM so that then when you go to talk to them later, you can personally reference what they actually talked to you about, which is huge.
oh, that's a pet peeve of mine. I'm going to get on a soapbox for a second. Can I?
Go ahead. Yes.
Okay. So
Love it.
look, when it comes to CRMs, right? And CRMs are very important in our world, and they run the gamut from free to, a team can pay $3,000 to $5,000 a month for a CRM with lead gen. So there's this incredible range, but there's one thing that you have to do on no matter what CRM you're using. It has to happen. Every time you have a conversation with somebody, you have to go document it in the CRM. You have to. And if they're not in the CRM, add them. So now you've documented the conversation, but before you shut down the CRM, you do one more thing. You schedule the next time you're going to call them. I don't want an email. I don't want a campaign. I want to know, when are you going to call them? And it could be 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months. I don't care. But then you just forget about it. It's now out of your head. It's not something like, I'll remember to call them next week. No, you won't. You're a realtor. You're going to get super busy. I won't remember. I'm busy. You're busy. So always schedule the next call. And then it just pops up the day of or the day before. And you go, oh yeah, why am I calling them? And what do? You go back and look at the notes. It's so simple. And yet so few people do it.
So, and it is, it's because we get busy and it gets hard.
Yep.
One of the biggest mistakes in my career, I'll tell you, that I made, Bill, was my clients loved me, right? And I didn't have a good CRM for probably, 8 years, first 8, 9 years into the business. It took me that long, maybe even longer. Let's not lie, maybe 10 years. It was a long time, okay? And I just remember thinking, oh, my clients love me. They'll remember me, but I can't tell you how often. And they did love me, but I'd see them at Safeway or wherever, and they were like, Krista, we just bought a house, or we just did this. And I'm like, oh, and it's not because they didn't like me. It's because they forgot about me and I wasn't in their face and they weren't reminded. And so don't let that happen. No matter if you're brand new or if you're, in the business a few years, or you're a total pro and you don't have one yet, get a CRM, use a CRM, never leave that last data point until you have your next time to call. That is one of our rules in our offices. Don't ever leave the contact without scheduling the next contact session.
Perfect. Yeah. It's just, it will, once again, a little teeny tiny change in your procedure will have a huge impact on your business.
Yeah. And it's all the little things that add up over time. It's just all these little things that you just do over time that just gives you huge momentum in your business. And it's a matter of just scheduling it out, right? Whether you do a voice memo, whether you write it down, and then just making it a habit every day to put in the time to actually, those interactions that you have, to actually put them into your CRM. It's going to make a huge impact on your business.
Totally agree. Yeah.
So relationships. If you didn't hear what he was talking about earlier, Breakthrough Broker is an amazing website. Fidelity, basically, you partner with them, right?
We do. We're a partner across the country with them.
And it's free.
It's absolutely free. It's, in fact, Eric likes to call it the WebMD of marketing for realtors, right? That's what he created with his partner back in 2008 or 9 when they rolled it out. And it's really come a long ways. I know some people have said, oh, I saw Breakthrough Broker 5 years ago and I wasn't impressed. Go back. They've done some incredible upgrades to the software and the product. It's amazing. Their business plan is perfect for especially an agent that's never done one before. It's interactive PDF, walks through the whole process. So a big fan of Breakthrough Broker.
So business plan in there, breakthroughbroker.com, free resources for lenders and real estate agents. Definitely a resource that you should look into. They've got a ton of marketing in there. I actually interviewed Eric, 2.5 years ago. When I first got into coaching, I reached out to him and he was great. So
yeah, he's a good guy. I had him on my podcast fairly recently, which was slightly embarrassing because I've had the show for a while, and he was a little upset with me in a nice way.
I haven't reached out to him for a while. He's great. So their whole goal in Breakthrough Broker is just to add free value. So they're aligned with Fidelity. And so
Other vendors too, not just us, but they're aligned with other vendors participate with them, and that allows the product to be delivered to the realtor at no charge in a compliant way as well. They're very careful with compliance, which is super important in our world.
well, of course, especially
Yep.
title. Yeah. And
Yep.
certain states are different because there's different.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I heard in Texas, it's like the wild, wild west. You can do whatever you want, right? As far as pretty much.
Yeah, it might be. I know other states are like that. I'm not. Texas had some issues a few years ago. They might have cracked down, but yeah, I know you're in California, and you have to be super careful if you're in the title business in California.
Yeah, they very much are.
Yeah.
Okay, so what else? What else can Bill? I want to give as much value, and you've got so much experience, and you've been in the industry for so long, and really valued and respected. What else can you do, or advice can you give to our listeners?
Well, I'll be a self-serving. From a self-serving point of view, there is so much good content being put out online, right? You're doing it. You've got a podcast going. You also create a video show out of it. I've done a podcast now. I'm in my 5th year. There are many others, Chelsea Pites with the Voice of Social Sales and Dustin Brown with Massive Agent Podcast. There's so much information out there. And even though we all do the same thing, we're not competing with each other. There's plenty of time for all of our shows to be listened to. Nobody's creating 10 shows a week. It's maybe a show a week at the most. So use that windshield time as a realtor a little more effectively. I know it's good sometimes look, I'm a sports talk radio guy, but I sometimes have to give it up and force myself. I've got 3 or 4 podcasts in the queue I got to listen to. So when I've got a 45-minute to an hour drive, it's going to be learning. And I think that's a big piece to the puzzle when people say, well, I don't really know what podcasts are. I just go, think of it as a way for you to learn a lot more about your business while you're driving and not get in trouble for it, right?
I love that windshield time. It's so true. I listen to podcasts or YouTube. I've got 50 Audible books on my phone. Getting ready in the morning while I'm cooking, dinner at night. I mean, while I'm at the gym, I have my AirPods on. And I know it might seem a little obsessive, but if you really think about it, the more that you can learn and then implement, right? Implement what you're learning and actually take those strategies and actually put them into practice, you're going to be just eons ahead of your competitors. So use the time wisely. And guess what? If you're listening to this right now, that means you are. So congratulations to you. You get like an A+ for today.
Yeah, go tell some friends, that aren't doing it. Hey, there's some content being created out there that really is like, there's nothing nefarious about it. I think it really is coming from a place of trying to contribute and help and grow. And if we can do that, if you can do that, or I can do that, then ultimately, it might lead to relationships for you and I with somebody that we want to do business with in the future. So it's really, you're doing and I'm doing what realtors should be doing, right? Delivering information to their people that's going to then show their value and their expertise in what they do. So if nothing else, if you'll just listen to a few of these things, I mean, for me, the reason I started podcasting was because I started listening to podcasts in 2012, 13, 14. And I just thought about it one day in 2015. I'm going to try that thing. I'm going to Google it, and found a couple of things. And, I did one episode with Jay Thompson, who was a close friend and was the Zillow guy for a number of years and handled the social media, side of Zillow, and or at least the people complaining about Zillow. And from that day, August of 2015, I've put out an episode every week. And I'm passionate about it. I love finding out what people do. I love finding out where they come from. And so that makes it really simple. I think as a realtor, you have to have that same thing. You have to get to know your people, find out where they come from. What makes them tick? That's going to develop that relationship, and that's going to help you move down that path.
And people are listening, and I just know, because we hear this all the time. They're going, "Oh, I'm embarrassed. What do I say, or what do I talk about?" And and all these mental, they're like getting in their own way. What advice would you give for them to get out of their own way?
Look, this guy doesn't do video a lot. I mean, I talk about it. I've got 300 videos on my channel. I feel like I have to practice what I preach when I talk to people. So I do video. And it's, you know that you've heard this, Krista. I hate the way I look. I hate the way I sound. And it's easy to say, just get over it. But the bottom line is, everybody has that same issue. But if you want to start small, do some audio work. Just do audio stuff at first. I mean, you could get away with it. But ultimately, I always tell people, you're going to meet the person face to face. Why, I had one gentleman in a session say to me, well, I like to send them videos about what I'm doing up front, because that way they're not shocked when they see me. I thought, okay, perfect. That's the way to handle it.
I always tell everyone, I have this really cool news flash. That's how you look. That's how you sound. I mean,
nothing you can do.
It is what it is, right? So
yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's easier said than done, but truthfully now it's not a matter of, oh, should I,
Oh,
it's the up and coming thing. It's been the thing. And
it's been the thing. Yeah.
when people ask me Krista, if you can give me one advice, the one thing I should do, I tell them, start utilizing video, and then secondly, properly distribute it,
Yeah.
right? Make sure
Yeah.
you're actually properly getting it out there, because if you're not properly distributing it on the channels, people aren't seeing it anyways. So, but just start, right? No one's perfect. I didn't like it. You didn't like it when you first started. We keep getting better and better.
Oh, it's just practice. And I'll throw out I'm a big fan of what BombBomb's done over the years. They've made it really easy to incorporate video into how you connect with people. So if you haven't seen bombbomb.com lately, head over there, and if somebody said to me, I only have $50 a month to spend on marketing, that's all I got. It's $50 a month, which is not a lot of money. I would say get a BombBomb account and use it every day. Just use it, and don't buy it and let it sit there.
Yeah, we teach our students to do 10 video text messages every single day to their
Awesome.
sphere, past clients. And it's never asking for business. It's just kind of like noticing what they're doing on social media. Maybe their kids had a birthday, or their kids went to college, or they had an anniversary, and just saying, hey, I was thinking of you. Happy anniversary. Hope you're having a great day today. And just, you're on my mind. Boom. That's simple. And
Yeah.
you would be amazed at the amount of business that they pick up just from that one strategy. It takes 10 minutes.
Right. Yeah. I was at I'll be at the Inman Connect event. I'm an ambassador for Inman. And so I'll be at the event in New York, and I love this part of this conversation. It was a texting session. I'm like, really? This was 2 years ago. It's texting in 2018. I'm like, okay, I'll go. And I sat down and got blown away by this one thing. And it was like, take your phone and go to your contacts and start with and just text everybody in your phone. And if you know them well enough, make it video, right? Just add that little piece to it. And like you said, it'll rekindle so much activity and rekindle so many conversations, which is all you want as a realtor. You want to be talking to people about anything, and that's a win, because it'll go to where it needs to go, right?
And no one else is doing it. That's the key.
No, yeah.
Is that no one else is doing it, because no one else is doing it. It's huge within your business. So I highly encourage you to do that. And remember, we always say it's great to listen, but if you don't implement, it means nothing. So I challenge you, if you're listening to this, whether you're a lender, a realtor, any kind of small business owner, get out your phone, start sending video text messages. And if you don't have BombBomb, all you need is just hit record and then send the video that way.
Keep it short and sweet. Keep it 15, 20, 30 seconds and send it. Yeah.
Okay. So this is completely off the topic. All right. I'm totally like doing a 360 here.
Right.
And the reason being is because you made a comment earlier, and you said, Bill, well, tell your friends, right? Tell your friends to start listening to podcasts. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because so many agents have this non-abundant mindset. They're so afraid of helping and sharing and teaching or telling people what's working. What would you say about that?
Yeah. We had a commercial sales manager back in Phoenix when I was, working there, who would be livid with me if I would share something with a competitor. Why are you doing that? And it is really an old school mindset, I think. I find that the most successful people in our business, the people doing massive amounts of units and dollars, hundreds of millions a year, absolutely will share everything they do with anybody who asks. It's really amazing, right? And I think part of it is because they think that most of the people in the room won't implement. And Krista, you and I know that's true. Most of the people won't implement. And that's your job. That's your job as a coach, is to increase implementation rates around the country, right? If you had to put it in a sentence. Yeah. And so I think that that mindset of giving and giving and giving is only going to make things better for you. It's going to create those relationships internally in the industry. They're going to come back tenfold, right? People that possibly, when they see an offer coming in, just throwing this out there, if an offer comes in and they see that's you, and they've worked with you and you've helped them, or you were able to give them some information, do you think that's going to have some impact? I mean, people are human. You realtors are people. So yeah, I couldn't agree with you more that it really is, you got to come from this place of giving to get.
Giving and help. Yeah. It's all about value. And it's, it's kind of, it's true. It's just the more you give, the more you get. That's not what we give, but it just happens in life, right?
It happens.
Universal law.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, it is.
Well, Bill, I have had such a great time talking to you today. I just really appreciate it. I want to encourage everyone, again, to go to his podcast, therealestatesessions.com. So therealestatesessions.com is the name of his podcast. And he's had some amazing people on there, super passionate about it, very consistent about it. And it's absolutely helped his business, as we know it would help yours if you did it locally. I always ask everyone, Bill, if they could just, give us like one thing that if you wanted to leave the listeners with to really help fast track their business or to put them in a better place for 2020, what would that be?
Well, we've kind of talked about it already, but it really is, it's got to be developed, that listening skill to another level. Really focus on how you listen to people. Practice on your family. That's a great place to start, by the way, but because we tend to not listen to the ones we love easily. Does that make sense? Yeah. Cause it's like, oh, they know me, so it's okay. Start there. But I just can't impress upon people enough that that's going to be for me, the takeaway is really, really listen intentionally. And I'll give you what I ask on my podcast. At the end of every episode, and Krista will be on there shortly, so you'll get to hear her answer to this question. But I ask, what one piece of advice would you give a realtor just getting started, to every guest, whether, some are not even in the business and they give great answers. But I got my favorite answer from Dan Stewart at Happy Grasshopper just a few weeks ago. And it was 3 words: express sincere concern. I think those words need to go on mirrors and Post-it notes and be stuck around somewhere. If you're expressing sincere concern, in the words of Dan Stewart, you are winning.
That's great. I love that. So you talk so much about listening. Can you just give us a few tips on how to be an effective listener? I know that sounds like a really, that's just so basic, everyone knows, but I mean, truly it's getting harder and harder in this crazy world.
Yeah. I think you hit on it a little bit earlier. Whatever you're doing, you can stop. Everything we're doing, we can stop now, because we can always start it up again. It's not like you don't have, everything can be stopped, whether you're on a call, whatever you're doing, you can put the device down, look them in the eye. And the hardest part is going to be, don't try to solve the problem. Just listen to what they're saying, right? Listen to what they're saying. And then ultimately you're going to respond appropriately if you aren't spending time trying to figure out what you want to say back to them. It really is, it destroys the whole process if you're trying to solve something or figure out the answer and they're still talking. So it's got to be intentional. Like I mentioned, it's the hardest part, but you've got to focus in, you got to listen. Everything else has to go to the wayside. I'm telling you right now, if you're talking to somebody in an event and you really want to impress them, never, ever look away at who's walking by. I work on that I'll be at Inman in January. I work on that every single event. I always focus on the person I'm talking to, and I don't care who walks by. I'm not going to let my eyes drift over to them until I'm done talking to the person I'm talking to. It's important.
That's great advice. So focus on the person that's right in front of you.
Yep.
And don't have the answer, because if you really are truly listening, you can't form an answer because you're listening. You can't do 2 things at once.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Bill, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. And I hope you are all just as fired up as I am about today and having Bill on there. You want to say something else I can tell Bill?
No, I'm good. Okay. I love your show, and I'm really an honor to be here.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's good to have you. And it's just, if you're watching, you can see just how passionate Bill really is. And if you're listening, you can hear it in his voice. And we love passionate, enthusiastic people about their cause. So thank you so much. I appreciate it, Bill.
Thank you for having me on again, Krista. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. And everyone, remember, it's great to listen, but if we don't implement, nothing happens. So I want to see you implementing. And as always, I'll see you on the next show. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks so much for watching my video. You can learn more about how to be a successful real estate professional by watching other videos that I have. And be sure to subscribe to my channel. And as always, make it a great home selling and buying day.